I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but if I was to get a plane to Boston and I was to meet with John Henry and I was to tell him things about a German player who's played at a mid-level to high-level Bundesliga club, I would not be doing it as a hobby. I would first of all be getting paid a lot of money, and secondly, I would wear glasses. I would have formerly wanted to be a footballer. My name would be Micheal Edwards. And I would want Florian Wirtz to play for Liverpool because that is my dream. With that being said, is it a realistic transfer? You tell me. Genuinely, I think a lot of people at this point sort of go, well, we're just using it, we're just negotiating with Bayern, aren't we? We're just helping them drive the price up. Even if we are, does it make it any less relevant that Liverpool need or want a number 10, they want an adaptable player in that area, and that we're willing to spend money of that level? I think Liverpool bidding on, even, you can go back as far as Van Dijk, you can go back to Alisson, you can go back to Caicedo, trying to hijack that, you can go to Wirtz now, you can look at plenty of world-class players that we've been involved in those conversations with. Of the 4 that I listed there, 50% of them ended up at the club. It's not unrealistic, especially considering the recent history between Bayer and Bayern, that really they're looking for other people to buy. And I get it, like, you know, Bayern are obviously a massive German team, and there's a possibility that Florian Wirtz himself really badly wants to go to Bayern Munich. But there are sometimes very compelling pitches. And I think a huge reason that Liverpool in recent years have gotten a lot of these good players is the compelling pitch. And guess what? They were getting great players before they won these things. And now there are some trophies in the cabinet which match that level of ambition. What is it that they are now saying? Well, you know, before they're pitching to Virgil van Dijk or possibly Alisson and saying, we've got a great manager, we've got a great way of playing, we've got, you know, a culture here that people want to be part of. All of those things still exist. Allegedly, all of those things are, if anything, enhanced by having Arne Slot there, are enhanced by having these players refreshed after the Klopp era, moving into the Slot era. It's probably also a really great thing that Florian Wirtz is still a very young player who has a lot of his career ahead of him. I'm not saying that he needs to retire at Liverpool. That is only reserved for very few Scousers who choose to stay at the club, and other people who become adopted Scousers. But outside of that, have a good 5 or 6 years with us. Try and win the Premier League, try and win the Champions League. If you've watched the way that Liverpool play and you've watched the way that someone like Arne Slot plays, you're probably as a player looking at that and thinking, this is a really compelling offering. It's an idea where I could become one of the greatest players in the world under this manager at this club at the very top level. Now, I get that there is also obviously the other perception of Liverpool that, well, you know, they're not Bayern. And no, I don't think Liverpool ever aspire to be Bayern. But that's kind of, again, a unique thing that we sort of lean into, right? And I'd imagine a lot of players probably lightly consider, they go, well, you know, what kind of club do I want to go to? What kind of culture do I want to be part of? Do I want to be part of a big institute like Bayern? Do I want to be part of a long-term plan under a manager there who allegedly or potentially could have not been sacked at different points during this season? Will I be playing under the same guy that I signed for, or could I go to a long-term project at somewhere like Liverpool where, you know, I know this coach, I know the people who are going to be managing it for a long time, and there are already world-class players there that I could be playing alongside, and I can kind of see a space for myself in that system. I get it. You could also say the same about Bayern, by the way. You know, you can replace Thomas Muller, all those kind of things. You can play in that little position just behind. There's Musiala and here, good friends, all those kind of things. But especially with John Henry, by the way, we are attributing a lot of things to this flight to Boston. We don't even know what the meeting was for, but apparently it was scheduled at the very last minute. That's exciting. Last minute meetings mean one of two things. You're either getting sacked or you're getting promoted. It's never anything in between, all right? And the great thing for Liverpool is that I don't think that Micheal Edwards is going to Boston to sack someone. Especially after Liverpool also contacted the family, spoke to all the people around it, spoke to Bayer and said, we'd quite like to fly him out and just chat to us. Florian Wirtz, broadly, would fit Liverpool, right? Very much fit Liverpool, actually. Culturally, he also seems like the kind of player that we want. Someone who's played under Xabi Alonso as part of a hard-working, title-winning side who could no longer fulfill their potential because To some extent, they were burned out. To some extent, they played tactically all of their cards, and they were essentially in a bit of a holding pattern, just trying to stay in the competition in order to take the next step in his career, in order to take the next step wherever. He is needing to move to a big club who compete consistently at the top level. At the moment, that's Liverpool. I think those things can come and go from a lot of top sides, especially in the Premier League. But broadly, Liverpool have been there or thereabouts over the last decade, not only under Klopp, but also under Slot. Not only that, but I think with the Dutch culture, it's very close to the Germanic culture. There are a lot of, I don't really think there'll be anyone who struggled to bed in at Liverpool, maybe Chiesa, but even then he seems to be well liked. And broadly, you would say there is a culture which is good at bedding players in relatively quickly. You'd also say that because of the changes tactically in the pre-season, the straight run at the pre-season that we're going to get, no Club World Cup, lots of other people looking to compete across multiple fronts and win that 100 million. We're going to have a side who are able to bed all these new players in. Not only that, but he'll be bedding in alongside a bunch of other players at the same time, a bunch of people who want to impress. And so to hit the ground running there's a likelihood there, right? On top of that, I also think he's tactically a brilliant fit for Liverpool. We've been looking for, and as Liverpool fans, we didn't acknowledge it when Bobby Firmino first came in because we were looking for the kind of a different idea of a striker. We were looking for a number 9. But then we got this hybrid number 9. We got this guy who can score goals and also enhance the other players around him. I call Florian Wirtz a multiplier of a player because guess what? If you put him alongside Salah out wide, or Salah out wide coming inside with Frimpong overlapping or underlapping, and the same on the other side with maybe not Diaz now, but with Kirkez, then you've got a great combination of players. Not only that, but with the rumours of apparently Luis Diaz being a big target for Barcelona this summer, Florian Wirtz coming in and being very strong on that left side, drifting inside at different points in the game, does make sense tactically for Liverpool. If we can move Luis Diaz on for a very healthy profit, which I don't see why we shouldn't, even if it is staggered payments that Barcelona are going to make on the back of a fag packet every couple of weeks, that is absolutely fine. Liverpool is still going to get their money in the end. And it's not about, will we or won't we get this debt? That's not the way modern football works. On top of that, I also think that we're still thinking, some of us, about the Klopp era rather than the Slot era. And we're thinking, well, what kind of forward do we want? I don't think we've seen the full potential of what Arne Slot wants in this era because he's been working with Nunes, low confidence, Chiesa, constantly hobbled, Jota, playing by his own admission, 60 to 80% capacity. Obviously, Salah playing fantastic football, Gakpo having those great moments, Diaz moving around and being adaptable, but ultimately not playing his strongest position constantly, but being a really good player. Bring in someone who fits tactically, bring in someone who fits culturally, bring in someone who makes sense overall. That's Florian Wirtz. By the way, you could also be saying that's Xavi Simons, you could be saying that's Cherki, you could be saying that's any of these guys, Cherki, whatever you want to say. Liverpool free up funds when it comes to big players. And again, because we've got that link with Frimpong, because we've got that link with Bayer at the moment, maybe there is something going on. Micheal Edwards has never shied away from making unusual kind of zags when everyone else is zigging or zigged when everyone else is zagging. That's doing the same thing, basically, just a dribbling different ways. A lot of people at the moment are saying that's not a very Liverpool thing. What has been a Liverpool thing now for quite some time? I know the £35 million player thing is a bit of a trope. Welcome, Frimpong. But outside of that, did anyone say Liverpool will never spend 75 million on someone like Van Dijk? Did Liverpool say we'll never spend that level of money? In fact, I think there are actually words uttered to the kind of tune of, we would never spend that much on a goalkeeper. In comes Alisson. For generational players, Liverpool spend money. And for that reason, I don't see why we should count ourselves. Why not? Guys, some people are talking about, it's just a rumour or whatever. Just have fun with it. Just enjoy it. Don't even worry. Don't think, is it actually going to happen or not? Part of doing this is the exercise of evaluating what Liverpool need in a number 10. And whether that means it's Xavi Simons or Cherki or Florian Wirtz or whoever, it's about just understanding where Arne Slot's going with this side, where those auxiliary wingers are going to go, the excitement of how we're going to play next. Just enjoy this period. We've won a title. The least we can do is just kick back, have a cigar and just go, that Wirtz guy is good. Just try it. It doesn't need to be serious. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are there other, if we get Wirtz, do we end up not getting a number 9? I think that's probably the case. Just purely budget-wise? And do we therefore change the way we play into this kind of diamond formation? Or, by the way, putting numbers and formations out there is kind of crazy anyway, because Arne Slot has changed it about 9 times this season. But still, let me know. What do you think is a way that you would be excited to see us play? There have been lots of people in the comments so far. Thinking of doing one of those comments videos where we go through the comments to kind of see what people are thinking. Let me know if you're down for that. There is Patreon down there, there's Discord, and there is also a massive super thanks, or chat, whatever you want to call it. I'll see you guys later on the channel here today. Have a good one. Much love. Bye.